with my.
My father and both of us have served in different branches of the military. So definitely thank you for your service with that. We're talking with Ashley Drake of The Natural Grip. Now, you mentioned something. 3-4 years in to the business, $1 million in sales later. I mean, you go back to your husband saying it'll never sell. When you sold your first 6 figures, what'd he say?
He said, he said, okay, now what? And I said, well, we keep going, I mean, it was just kind of like that. He, he was skeptical at first, but, when we started the business in May of 2013, by the end of that year, we had done 60,000 in sales. And so that was kind of the moment like, oh man, this is legitimate. We got to worry. The tax man's going to be interested in this, we've got to be interested in this, what are we going to do? And it was really a decision point, were we going to walk away or were we going to continue on that path? And, luckily my husband had the opportunity where he could, change his profession and take the production on full time. So, he's just as committed as I am to making this successful. And every day we're surprised, by the growth of the company. But we're putting in the level of work that it takes to make that a reality. And there's no wasted time in our family. So we're here as long as it takes, and plus some.
So why don't you tell the listeners how to get more information about The Natural Grip?
Yeah, the best way is social media. We're very active on all of our social platforms, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter. If you're just interested, kind of want to check us out or start following us, I highly recommend, at The Natural Grip. And we're on all those platforms. And then also you can check out our product on our website, www.thenaturalgrip.com, and you can order a pair for right there from our website.
Awesome. Ashley Drake with The Natural Grip, CEO, might I add, right here. Thank you for taking your time out on homeabiz.com.
Thank you for having me.
Connect, capitalize, go.
My brothers, the necessary subscription that you promised to share us with your friends. Here's something you like? Simply use the social share buttons at the bottom of the page to tell your network about the Podcast for Business. It's simple, easy, and only takes 5 seconds. That's it, partner. You've made the Share All promise.
All new radio for small business.
If you've got stinky hands, stinky breath, you want to talk to the next guest here on homeabiz.com, Tony Gauthier of Spritz. You've seen him all over the place, all through the media. Tony, welcome to the show.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Thanks for having me. I really appreciate it.
So what part of the world are you in, Tony?
I'm in Oakland, California, on the West Coast, Oakland, California. This is home. Born and raised. I love this place. It's the best place on earth.
Now, your business is Spritz. Obviously people, they heard me say if you got stinky hands and stinky breath, they need to listen to you. Tell us about Spritz.
Yeah, so Spritz is the original first all-natural 2-in-1 breath and hand freshener. And I know a lot of people are going to say, what, breath and hand freshener? Yes, it is the first breath and hand freshener. I came up with Spritz a few years ago while I was hosting a party, and I kind of snuck outside for a quick smoke break, and I didn't want to go back inside with the embarrassing smell of the cigarette smell. I know it's a bad habit as it is, but that's when I thought to myself, what if there was a product that can actually take away the smell of smoke from your hands as well as your breath? So that's when I created Spritz, along with a chemist friend of mine. So basically, Spritz is for people that, whether they smoke or not, it's an alternative, a healthier alternative to freshen your breath. 0 calories, no sugar. It's all natural. It's the new after dinner mint. You can use it after you just ate some sushi, some fried food. You're about to go on a date, going to the office. That's what Spritz is all about.
Just a little Spritz and you'll be ready to go.
There you go. A little Spritz goes a long way.
So, eventually you got this thing pumping enough where you got enough people excited and you ended up raising capital. Now, before you ended up on ABC's Shark Tank, had you ever pitched and raised capital before?
No, I have not, actually. This has actually been my first time doing it to this extent. I've started businesses before as a young guy, whether it was doing music or doing clothes, a clothing line, a local clothing line, but never something to this extent. So this is still something very brand new to me. I'm still learning. There's a lot to learn. I'm in no way a professional entrepreneur. I'm an entrepreneur in training. But it's been an awesome ride, and I know that we have a long way to go, and it's just going to be amazing.
So, I mean, obviously, being the entrepreneur in training, and when you ended up on the carpet there on ABC's Shark Tank, what are some of the things? I don't really want to talk about the show itself. I want to talk about what you did to prep and some of the mindset and some of the thought process. So, what were some of the things that you did to prepare for that show? Okay,
yeah, good. So I'm very optimistic, and I'm a huge believer in the power of the mind as well as the spirit. So prior to going to the show, I can say this. When I first came out with the product, I literally would write down my goals, my visions, my dreams of what I wanted to accomplish with this product on my vision board. I hate to be cliche about it, but I did. I continued reading a lot of entrepreneurial books. I watched the show daily, and I just said, okay, I need to know my business inside and out. So what we would do as a team is we would practice going over every question that we can possibly think of, every question that they would possibly throw at us, and also we would create our own. As well as it allowed me to start learning the industry of the breath industry, the breath.
And I ask, Connect Capital. Tony, let's talk about that next level. Right now, you are on the carpet and you're pitching investors. What's going through your head? What are some of the questions they're asking you? And you know, what are you doing to power through, man?
So to power through, you know, and for the viewers, the listeners who may or may have not seen the show, I don't want to give it away just yet because I want them to be able to go to our website, spritzme.com, SPRETZ me.com, and they can click the link to see the episode. So I don't want to give up all the juice. But what was going through my head at that moment was we made it. Regardless of what the outcome is going to be, we made it. I made it. I am doing this for my mother. My mother passed away 3 years ago to a day of the taping of the show.
Oh, man.
And so it's okay. So I knew I had to power my mother, as well as, you know, being an entrepreneur in training. This is what it's all about. I'm standing in front of an opportunity, basically a gold mine or basically a pot of gold, whether they like it or not. The world is going to see this. So I just had to swallow all my inhibitions and not be nervous and know my numbers and know my business inside out and be ready for whatever they had to throw at me. You know, this wasn't a gimmick. This isn't a gimmick. This wasn't a hustle. It's not a hustle. This is a real business. So that was going through my mind, was the fact that my thought process got us here. It actually really works. And now we have to show the world that this is not a laughing matter. This isn't a joke. We're not the joking episode. You know, this is a real business, a viable business that can actually take off.
Right.
So that's what was going through my head. I wanted to prove to the Sharks that it's a new business. It's never been done before, but this is something that we want to take a risk on because this is the future of freshness. You know, people laughed at the inventor of the telephone. If I told you right now, hey, I want to talk to you from across the world with this string of wire, you'd laugh at me.
People would have thought you were crazy back then. You know?
That's right. So people thought the same way with Spritz. So that's what was going through my head. Just no nerves. We made it. Let's show the world what Spritz is all about.
Hey, that's pretty cool. Tony Gauthier of Spritz. We're talking to him right now on HomeBiz Radio, HomeBiz.com. We've been talking about one, Spritz at spritzme.com. We've been talking about two, his experience raising capital and on ABC Shark Tank. Tell us a little bit more. Let's kind of switch gears just a little bit now that you're, you know, quote unquote, post Shark Tank, right? Even whether you got a deal or not, you still get massive publicity. Was there some things you had to put in place to be ready for that influx of new business and new inquiries?
Yeah, there was actually. You know, really, at that moment there, you know, I had to go out and really put my business knowledge to effect. I had to also reach out and ask for some favors. I know a few people in the financial industry that are financial investors or advisors. I know some people that do operations and the directors of operations for various companies. So I had to swallow my pride and not be afraid to admit the things that I did not know. I'm not going to lie to you. I don't think we were as prepared as we should have been once the show aired, because the influx of orders and the influx of emails, you know, it was overwhelming. We purposely had a delay for the shipment date so that we could be ready just in case there were too many orders or not enough. And, you know, it was such a blessing to see all those orders coming in. But I had to take a step back and, you know, and start asking for favors on how do I properly do this? What is the
flies go?
We had the night of the, you know, it was just it was definitely, that night was a lesson learned, and it's been a lesson learned, and you know, that's what life is all about. You learn from your mistakes, you try not to make them again.
But I'm guessing you probably got the equivalent of a college degree in just that short time after the show, just with all that information.
Oh, yeah, I should be a professor now. My mother used to always say experience is the greatest teacher. And, boy, that was a great lesson and a great teacher. I mean, being on the show, going through this process, this actually has been one of the greatest lessons I've learned in life. I mean, being a parent is also awesome. Being a friend, a brother, a husband is great. But learning this School of Hard Knocks business is amazing, because that's what it's all about. Everything's not going to be perfect. Everything's not going to be sweet. And you have to be okay with that. I won't lie. I was emotional and hurt when I would see emails of people saying, hey, I didn't get my order today. Can you give me a refund? Or, hey,
that hurts.
It took 10
having to
days
get money back, right? Yeah.
It does, but one of my key values with my company, with Spritz, is customers first. I mean, we believe in amazing customer service. I email everyone back that sends me an email, sends me a Facebook post, a tweet, an Instagram. Anytime something comes into the Spritz Me website, I email them back personally. I don't care if it's a good email, a bad email, if it's an insult, if it's a congratulations. I email everyone back because I believe in the power of customer service.
Well, Tony Gauthier, owner of Spritz, I definitely thank you for taking your time out. Sounds like you're a very wise man. And why don't you tell the listeners a little bit more about how to get a hold of you, maybe your website, information, things like that.
Yeah, definitely. And again, I want to thank you for having me on the show. I really do appreciate it. This is a part of the journey that I'm so thankful for. All the listeners can check us out on spritzme.com. That's SPRETZ. M as in Mary, E as in elephant, spritzme.com. They can go to our Facebook and follow us, just at Spritzme. Our Twitter handle is at Spritzme, as well as the Instagram is at Spritzme. Even if you just Google Spritzme, it'll pop up. You'll see some YouTube reviews. We were just featured in Forbes.com as one of the top 25 best gifts for Father's Day. So there's a lot of information out there. Again, if you email us, I'll email you back most likely, or maybe one of my interns. But if you have stinky breath, if you have stinky hands, this is a show airing. So
impactful and guests. Some of them have even been featured on national television shows like ABC's Shark Tank and CNBC's The Prophet. Our mission is simple: to journey with you on your road to achievement. To do that, I'd like to invite you to partner with us in our Share All promise. I promise to continually share for free without commercial interruption and unnecessary subscriptions. And I ask that you promise to share us with your friends. Here's something you like? Simply use the social share buttons at the bottom of the page to tell your network about the podcast for business. It's simple, easy, and only takes 5 seconds. That's it, partner. You've made the Share All promise.
Put your mouth where your money is. Radio for small business with HomeBiz.
Well, it's Radio for Small Business. Your host, Eugene Rowe. Check us out on homebiz.com. You can also check the show out on Google Play, iTunes, Spreaker, SoundCloud, and a whole lot more options. Right now, today, I've got David Lynch with Simenon Realtors on the show. David, welcome.
Thank you.
So tell us a little bit about your background. Realty, real estate, are you investing, or are you more so realtor? How's that work?
I'm a commercial realtor. I've been in the business about 30 years. I got my MBA in 85 and started out with Humana in corporate acquisition and development, picking out their sites around the southeast U.S. when they were a hospital company.
Wow.
Then went on to NTS. It's a regional commercial group here that leases office buildings. They had about 21 office buildings.
Okay.
Did some leasing for them, and then I got into general commercial brokerage and have followed that path.
So tell me a little bit, what part of the country are you in, David?
Midwest.
Okay.
Which, Louisville is a big area for industrial because it's about 6 hours to Chicago, to Atlanta, to St. Louis, 4.5, to the East Coast, probably about 7 or 8. So it's a good central location. We got a couple of new bridges going in downtown that's going to allow quicker access north-south, and we have several interstates here that go north, south, east, west.